rebounds and 8 assists. They'll take on the winner of the Pacers-Knicks series in the Eastern Conference. Game 5 is tonight at Madison Square Garden. New York down 3-1 in the series. The Florida Panthers are headed back to the Stanley Cup final. The defending champs beat the Carolina Hurricanes 5-3 last night to win the series 4-1. West Final Game 5 tonight. Dallas down 3-1, looking to stay alive at home. College World Series regional action gets underway tomorrow. Vanderbilt heads in as the top overall seed. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. That's the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Now at Verizon, we have some big news for your peace of mind. For all our customers, existing and new, we're locking in low prices for 3 years, guaranteed, on My Plan and My Home. That's future you peace of mind. And everyone can save on a brand new phone on My Plan when you trade in any phone from one of our top brands. That's new phone peace of mind. Because at Verizon, whether you're already a customer or you're just joining us, we got you. Visit Verizon today. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Progressive knows when you're on your boat, you're already on vacation. And Vacation You forgets all your worries. Vacation You doesn't even keep track of time and knows that time is a meaningless construct designed to control us, man. But Regular You knows you don't want to be too far out in the water after the sun goes down because Vacation You doesn't know how to navigate in the dark yet. Vacation You and Regular You really need to get on the same page. So bundle your boat with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
If you want to be an alpha, you've got to get the winning edge. It's kind of a necessary ingredient if you want to lead the pack. So mark your territory with the winning edge. You're in the big leagues. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
All right. And welcome in. It's FFC Football Full Circle on this Thursday afternoon. Scott Wetzel, George Kurtz in for the next 60 minutes, sitting in for Ben and Joe once again today. We'll do it again tomorrow as we recap and kind of just go over the NFL for the next 60 minutes on what's going on. Actually, I have a couple of headlines to break into, and we'll also delve into more of what we did yesterday with some of these team over-unders now that we have the schedules out, just kind of dissecting things, look at what they did last year, what they're projected to do this year, and see if we can find a couple of winners over-unders with the boys in Vegas. What's going on, George? How are you today?
Doing well, Sky. Doing well. 98 days now until the start of the NFL season here, and you and I living in New York, it feels like football weather out there, right? Gray, dreary here. It could be a pretty good football Sunday today.
Yeah, it really is. It's amazing. I'm waiting for the heat to come through, but so far that's not the case. Although it's not too bad. I don't have to put the heat on in my house except at night, so for that, I suppose I'll accept. So, but it's not my garden netting. Some headlines before we break down some of these over-unders. Let's go with the Cleveland Browns. We'll start there. There's a few places we could go. Let's start in Cleveland, where I found it interesting. Joe Flacco yesterday telling the world that he basically is not going to hold these rookie quarterbacks' hands. He'll be a mentor, but by example, which really means, you know what, don't look to me. I'm going to go to work. If you Shedeur Sanders, and Dylan Gabriel want to follow me, watch me, okay. But if you think I'm here to help them, he basically said that's not the case. He thinks he's still a starting quarterback. He's there to win the starting job. You throw in the Kenny Pickett situation, not even to mention Deshaun Watson. And it's been broken down before, but what a mess, what a crazy situation that Cleveland Browns quarterback room is. And now you have the supposed leader, George, coming out saying, don't look to me to lead. I'm trying to win a starting job.
This is from my mind short-sighted of Joe Flacco. You're not a starting quarterback, all right? And you haven't been for years.
Right.
All right. You're a backup, and if you want to stay in the league longer, letting teams know that you will mentor a young quarterback could be a way to keep you around longer, right? If that's what you're going with here. I mean, listen, do I think Flacco's going to start week 1? Yeah. Do I think he starts in October? No. I think it's just a matter of time until they get one of these younger quarterbacks ready. I think it will eventually be Shedeur Sanders. He'll get the most starts this year. Whether or not he's going to succeed or not, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he gives them the best chance, right? I pick it. He's failed a couple of times here, although he might be my number 2 guy in order here that I'd start there. It is a mess there in Cleveland, right? To let you know, I'm in a fantasy football league draft right now. This is an industry league with names that people would know if you're a fantasy guy. We are in round 31. Shedeur Sanders just got drafted. So there's not a lot of belief here, and even in the fantasy land, that Shedeur Sanders is going to do anything this year. And by the way, this is a dynasty league. which means you'll have Shedeur. I didn't draft him. The team that did will have Shedeur Sanders forever, theoretically. But still, nobody truly believes in his talent, even in fantasy land.
All right, so I'll throw it to you then. Why didn't you draft him? You had 30 opportunities. How come not one time?
I got Joe Burrow. My backup was Michael Penix. When I thought about getting Sanders probably 5 rounds ago, Geno Smith was still there, and I'm like, I got Burrow. I got Penix as my young guy. So if I needed a young guy, I got Penix for 10 years, theoretically. So I didn't need another quarterback. Yeah, I wasn't going to. If he would have been there in a couple of rounds, maybe I would have taken him. I do think, like I said, I do believe he'll start the most games for Cleveland this season. I do. Whether or not he's going to be any good, especially fantasy good, I'm not so sure I see that. And not for a couple of, even if he starts, Scotty, there's not a lot there. Offensively, to be a good fantasy player there. That's why he might be. I think you sort of brought this up on the show yesterday, right? Didn't you? That even if he starts, can we really judge him this year? There's not enough there to really make an assessment, really, for him or any other quarterback on the Cleveland roster.
Yeah. That roster might be the worst in football. They got no running backs. They have no wide receivers. Defensively, maybe they'll be halfway decent, but offensively, as far as weapons are concerned, man, there really is not a lot. If you look at some of the worst teams, they always have 1 or 2 guys. They don't even have that. Brutal start to the schedule. We talked about their schedule yesterday, but just to recap, they start the season with Cincinnati, at Baltimore, Green Bay, at Detroit. So I really doubt you're going to have Sanders or Dylan Gabriel, one of the 2 rookies, start the year. To me, it does look like it's going to come down to Flacco or Pickett. I don't think they really want to start Flacco. He is what he is. He's a backup quarterback. You said it, right? So I think maybe they would give Pickett the crack. But that would be a good bet with the boys in Vegas. Who starts the most games at quarterback for the Cleveland Browns this year? I guess it'll be Sanders, but
I'd vote Sanders. I don't know if he gets double digits. I don't know if he gets double digits, but I'll say he gets the most. You already said this is a bad team, right? We all know this is a bad team. So starting Flacco is a waste of time. Right? You're just holding somebody back, right? I think as soon as one of the youngsters is ready, and I don't think Watson is even with the team. We already heard the owner throw him under the bus, so I don't think he'll be there. So as soon as one of the youngsters is ready, he has to be the starter. You might as well let him learn, get the rookie blues out of the way. So as soon as Gabriel or Sanders is ready, and I don't think it'll be Gabriel ever, by the way, you let that guy go. If it's Pickett because maybe he's been around a few years and learned something now, fine. I just think Flacco. Why is he? In my mind, Pickett. Fine. If you need a quasi veteran, Pickett start the season, and then you wait for Sanders to figure it out. And you go with him. Flacco is no part of this in my mind. He shouldn't be competing for anything, right? He should be a guy who's grooming somebody else, teaching him the ropes, something like that. But he doesn't want to do that. So he holds no purpose in my mind on an NFL team, or at least on the Cleveland Browns.
I'd like to know how they're going to divvy up all the reps. This is not like the old days, where, and I brought this up in other shows, where you have 3-4 hour practices, you have 2 practices a day in training camp. No, none of that stuff is allowed anymore. You can't do that. You got basically 2.5 hours, and you get through some walkthroughs, but that's it. As far as like hitting and real reps, I don't know how you figure out which quarterback is going to get the first team reps. Maybe you split it up 2 a day, where you get 2 of the 4 quarterbacks that can do that. But I'm not confident that the Cleveland Browns are smart enough to figure out who is the best quarterback out of the 4.
Oh, I'm with you there. Stefanski said the other day, they had an interview with him, that it's not going to be 25% for everybody. And that was an interesting number he brought up, by the way, because he said 25%, which is 4. They have 5. So that would seem to be that Watson, once again, is the odd man out there. Because he said 5%. Maybe he misspoke and meant 20%. Who knows? But you're right. You can't.
Watson's not ready. Right. So Watson's not ready to practice right now. So it's going to be a little while.
I think he'll be ready by training camp.
No. Why would they have 5,000 quarterbacks?
He's throwing.
I thought he was going to miss like half the season.
No, he's throwing the teammates already. Whether or not he can run or really move. I'm just reading what Mary Cabot's saying here, that he's not expected to start the season, not expected to compete for the starting job, even when he is capable. He's not expected to compete here. But he's made very good progress in his recovery. Everybody makes very good progress in their recovery.
Yeah. Why is he not supposed to compete? Because they've closed the door on him, or because he
That's how I would read
not
it.
healthy enough.
That's how I would.
It sounds like.
I mean, we heard the owner come out 2 months ago and say, this is a terrible sign, blah 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 blah. That it was a bad move and all that. So when you're saying that means that player's done. Maybe they'll release him at some point. It's sunk money. It's a sunk cost. You're not going to get anything from him. No one's taking on anywhere near that contract or his reputation, or the fact that he's terrible now. He's not even a very good quarterback. Everything's went. That's probably one of the worst. That's got to be the worst trade. That's worse than the Herschel Walker trade, isn't it? I mean, you took $250 million here. You're just eating.
Yeah. You gave him a contract extension. You gave up a whole bunch of assets, which, oh, by the way, allowed them to go get C.J. Stroud. And he stinks. I mean, it doesn't. They're the three. Yeah. I mean, those are the three things you look at a trade, right? And they failed on all three of them. NFL Network does like top 10, top 100 shows all the time. That would be a good one. Top 10 worst trades of all time. Well, that's got to be at the top of the list. It really does. All right, football full circle just underway. Me and George Moore coming up here on the grid on this terrific Thursday afternoon.
Four out of 5 scientists agree it's smarter to be on Sports Grid. And we're pretty sure that one scientist is still a virgin. He just gives that vibe. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
With the Sports Grid News Flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. This update brought to you by Wendy's. A federal judge immediately rejected a defense request for a mistrial on Wednesday at the sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs. His attorneys had said that prosecutors tried to imply to a jury that the music mogul interfered with the investigation into rapper Kid Cudi's firebombed Porsche in 2012. Legislation signed into law by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis will impose tougher penalties on people who abandon pets during natural disasters. The governor also signed a bill that enhances criminal penalties for severe cruelty to dogs and other pets. An Ohio divorce attorney accused of fatally stabbing a client in 2013 in a plot to delay her trial pleaded not guilty to aggravated murder and kidnapping charges. Bail was set at $2 million for 51-year-old Gregory Moore, charged with murder and conspiracy in the 2013 death of Aliza Sherman. I'm Trey Westerberg with the Sports Grid News Flash.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like frames. Because you found a classic 70s concert poster. But when you went to get it framed, you realized the frame will cost about 4 times the amount of the poster. Which is actually absurd because no one will be looking at the frame, and if they are, then you severely overestimated how cool this poster is. But then you remember by switching your home and auto to Progressive, you could save hundreds and put it towards a classic 70s concert poster in an absurdly overpriced frame. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Something amazing is happening here. Scientists are using AI to study how whales talk to each other. CDW experts can give researchers the power to process complex data with HP workstations, advanced by AMD Ryzen Threadripper Pro processors. With easier handling of AI workloads, your organization can bring powerful insights to the surface. Make amazing happen. HP, AMD, and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/HPAMD.
There's something you should know and always remember. Sports Grid does not increase luck. We're your unfair advantage for the latest sports gaming information. If you're looking for luck, go find a horseshoe. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
All right, welcome back. It is Football Full Circle here on this Thursday. Scott and George just getting underway. So we both like the under with the Browns. Talked about their quarterback situation with Joe Flacco coming out and basically telling the world, don't look to me to be the leader of this football team. And I'm not holding Shador Sanders and Dylan Gabriel's hand. So, which I can kind of appreciate a little bit, but you got to be, realistic about it. How about the Stephon Diggs video? Yes. I'm going to take maybe the contrarian side of this, George, and say, first of all, you knew what you were getting when you signed this dude. But that aside, it's not against the law to have fun. It really isn't. He's not a party boat with a bunch of bikini-clad women. I mean, if that's his biggest crime, I think we all would be signing up for that crime, right? I mean, so first of all, it's again, not a crime to have fun. The pink stuff in the bag. I don't know what that is. I'm not a drug expert. All I do hear him saying, though, is don't take it all at once. So if you really dissect that 15, 20-second whatever video of him talking to the three broads. So I don't know if if that was cocaine like people want to allude to. I don't think he'd be saying that. I don't think anybody's that dumb to take a whole bag of cocaine. So I'm thinking it's something else. Who knows what it is? Let's say it is drugs, just for the sake of argument. Who cares? It's the NFL. It's the off season. If you don't think these guys are partying and having fun in the off season, then you're kidding yourself. Then you're just living in a bag, the size of that bag that he had. So, not that I'm okay with it all, but he's having fun. He's a rich man. I think we all get jealous of these guys. These guys make $1 gazillion. He just got thrown $25 million. And you talk about the contract being dopey. That's a different story. But 3 years, $63 million, $25 million guaranteed for a 31-year-old wide receiver coming off ACL surgery. You talk about dumb contracts. That's it. And then you throw in his personality. You knew that stuff like this was going to happen. But ultimately, it's to me, it's not the end of the world. Let's see what he says. Let's see what excuse he says. But I'm not okay with it, but I'm not going to go crazy with it like I've heard other people.
I don't know if I'd go crazy with it. A lot of the things you said there are true. All right. This really surprises you? Really? All right. Yeah. I don't think it's cocaine. I'm sure it's some kind of pills or whatever it is. I might, if I'm Vrabel and like, you're dumb enough to put this on video? What the hell are you doing? All right. I mean, they all know this stuff happens here, but really, someone filmed this? I mean, that's what baffles my mind here. Baffles the mind here. All right, listen, there's nothing wrong with being on the boat with, as you said, bikini-clad women. No, if we can't do that, then, lock me up and take me to Russia. Because, hey, I don't care how old I am. I wouldn't mind doing that as well. Who wouldn't here? But the pills thing is, or whatever it is, the Pepto-Bismol, you got to be kidding me. I mean, how stupid are you? That's what it comes to. How stupid are you? All right, so it is what it is here. I don't feel the least bit bad for New England. You already said it. You knew what you were getting into, and here it's come. The chickens come home to roost. Too bad.
Yeah. And what could they do? He could just say it's anything, unless some, one of those women says, nope, no, it was drugs. Otherwise, it's his word. He can come up with it. It was a bag of Cheerios that I crunched up. I mean, he could say anything he wants. The biggest thing is, like you said, he's got a leak in his group there, because obviously, someone sent out that video, and there was another video of the people partying. There's about 20 people or so, I would say, on the boat, 20, 25 people. So that video's out there as well. I'm not doing anything wrong, but clearly someone kind of broke his trust by having his video out. It kind of reminds me of the speech from Chris Carter. When he's telling the people, you got to have your fall guy. If you remember that speech from 3, 4, 5 years ago, right? You got to be smarter. You're right. I think that's the speech that Vrabel's giving him. Not don't go on a boat with women. Not don't do this or don't do that. It's like, hey, stupid. Make sure there are no videos. That's the number one thing. So, but that's the fun things. I didn't quite get that signing anyway. I know they were desperate for a weapon on the outside, and they've tried drafting wide receivers, and it's been a complete failure, George. But $63 million, $25 million guaranteed. Maybe that's just 1 year. That's you take a flyer on that, but that's still a lot of money. $25 million for a 31-year-old wide receiver coming off major knee surgery. That was dumb to me.
Well, once again, it was sort of a knee-jerk reaction, right? Because they didn't get Godwin. They offered Godwin more money than Tampa Bay did, right? Then the Godwin, he turned him down, and this was the old oh no, what are we gonna do? And they did this. Which we knew at the time. And once again, this has nothing to do with the pink substance. Okay, this is all about the fact that he's not that player anymore, and he's not going to be ready in September. It looks like maybe October you might get him back, which means he's probably a bust this year. Then, right? It didn't make sense when they signed him. Certainly doesn't make sense now. Here, what are you expecting? I mean, what, they're going to show up 2 games against Buffalo? He wants to get even there. Yay! So in my mind, it was just a bad plan B. It was a bad plan B because you didn't have one, so you panicked. You panicked and signed him for a name value, and he's not that player anymore.
Just like with the Browns, this is one of my better underplays. I don't see 7.5. And again, it's juiced to the over. It might flip to even 8.5, which I don't. They're 4-13. They didn't really make any wholesale changes. All right, Drake May figures to get a little bit better, but I'm not a big Drake May fan anyway. They got 3 straight road games. I mean, they only got 4 games in prime time, which helps their situation some, but they're not an 8-9 football team in my world. I don't see. I think that's one of the best bet unders that there's going to be on the board this year.
I mean, I think they could. I think there was a road for them to get it. They could beat Vegas week 1, Miami Jets. They could win 2 games there. That's 3. Maybe get another game in the Division 4. You play Pittsburgh, Carolina. I mean, they're scheduled New Orleans, Tennessee. I mean, it's set up to give them a chance. Give them a chance here. It is set up for them. So
it is.
I'm not saying they're going to get it, mind you. And they're going to. By the way, they're going to be a boring football team. All right, they're not going to throw the ball down the field. They're going to play good defense because they have a good defense, and they're going to run the ball. Right, Stevenson and I forget the other guy, the rookie there, Henderson. They're going to run the ball a lot. So they're not going to play fun football at all. They're going to play that kind of football. Let's keep games 17-14 in the fourth quarter and hope the other team makes the mistake and we can capitalize and we win the game here. I could see because of their schedule where they have a shot at it. Not a playoff team, but a shot at it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of winnable games, but that doesn't mean you're going to win them. And I think I'm on the other side of the New England equation. I'll give the Carolinas and the Pittsburghs and the Dolphins and even the Jets a better chance of winning those games than I do the New England Patriots. So one more story, then we'll check out some team over-unders. Football full circle here on the Grid.
There's smart and there's not smart. Not smart is hope as a strategy. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. Keep it here and win. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network. The Sports Grid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
2 of the premier teams in the NBA.
1980, Larry Bird beats out Magic Johnson for the NBA Rookie of the Year. Bird played in all 82 games and averaged 21.3 points per game. Magic played in 77 games and averaged 18 points. But Johnson had the last laugh, winning the NBA championship and finals MVP. For Sports Grid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Scientists at the American Institute of Physics have built a sophisticated computer model using half a dozen differential equations derived from Euler's mathematical simulation of a rotating rigid body on a waxed surface covered with a thin layer of oil to understand, for the first time, the science of bowling. Until now, there's been no unified model to predict the best conditions for a strike, or how to best prepare tournament lanes for fair competition. However, no simulation of bowling ball shot dynamics, trajectory, friction, wood grain, accessories, or oil patterns can solve this. Better ball. Follow me at Gigabelbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Money Line.
And I'm going to tell you the name right now, which usually in the past you'd stay away from. That's Sandy Alcantara of the Miami Marlins. His last 30 days, 116 batters he's faced. 235 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 402. Lefties crushing him. Righties crushing him. It doesn't matter. 24th out of 29 pitchers on the card today for Alcantara. He's got a 114 xFIP minus in 8 ERA.
Catch Money Line with Donnie Rightside and Kevin Walsh. Weekdays, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on the Sports Grid Radio Network. There comes a point when the chips are down. To coin a phrase, when the only thing you can do is stop and wait. Do you want to face that moment prepared or rely on luck? Get the winning edge. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
All right, welcome back. It is Football Full Circle on this Thursday. Scott and George sitting in for Ben and Joe today and tomorrow as well. We'll talk a little NFL for the next 35 minutes or so. So a couple of the headlines here before we get to some of these over-unders with the teams, which we were started yesterday. We'll do today, then a little bit more tomorrow. And that is, every once in a while, you get the reality thrown in your face that football is a business, George. And that's what we got yesterday with the Baltimore Ravens and really earlier, last week and a half or so ago. But head coach John Harbaugh talked for the first time since they cut kicker Justin Tucker. We know the issues about Justin Tucker off the field, the accusations, who knows if they're true or not. But the bottom line is they cut him. And it's really it's kind of sad. It really is. Harbaugh, I'll quote him, just I don't want to take him out of context, explaining why they cut Tucker. It's a multi-layered and complicated decision, he said, but in the end, it all comes back to what you have to do to get ready for your team to play the first game. And I think if you step back and take a look at all the issues and all the ramifications, you can understand that we've got to get our football team ready. We've got to have a kicker to go, and that was the move we decided to make. I mean, you talk about a bunch of BS. I mean, this is not August, and we got a game in 2 weeks. This is May. There's plenty of time, I would think, to have things kind of iron itself out and figure out, is he guilty? Is he innocent? Is there a plea bargain? Who knows where it's going to go? But ultimately, you have time. You're talking about one of, and he even said it earlier in his statement, maybe the best kicker, certainly one of the top 4 or 5 kickers of all time. He's been with your club forever. He's had big kick after big kick after big kick. There was no sense of loyalty at all for this guy. No, whatever happened to innocent to proven guilty? I mean, he's saying he's innocent, so it's not like he's saying, yeah, I did these things that they're accusing me of doing. So you don't stand behind a guy like that who's been in your corner for how many years in Baltimore? Like I said, has won how many games for them? I don't like John Harbaugh. I don't. The more I watch him and the more I hear him, I don't like that. That's you could have it be a football decision. Hey, listen, if he would have stood up there, George, yesterday and said, hey, you know what? He had an awful year last year. He missed a lot of kicks. And he did. He missed a lot of kicks last year for the first time in his career. And we just wanted to go in a different direction. All this stuff off the field had nothing to do with it. I would have had more respect. But to throw that out there and say this is why we're doing it, but ultimately it's a football decision because he has these other issues, that's just BS.
I have no problem with it. All right. What is it? 18 women have accused him. I guarantee you the team knows more than we know. And now I do wonder if he had a great year last year. I think we're having a different conversation here. And I don't think he's released, by the way, if he had a great year. This is also a team that screwed up the Ray Rice situation years back. So it makes you wonder if they're a little nervous about this sort of thing here and the bad PR that comes with it. But I do wonder if he would have had a normal Justin Tucker year, a Hall of Fame year last year, if he's still with the team now. I do wonder that. That being said, I have no problem with them releasing him. All right. Could have been worded better? Sure, but who cares? All right. Either way, we'd be complaining one way or the other here. Like I said, 17, 18 women. You're going to have a hard time convincing me that they're all lying or that they're all after money. Some of them, okay, probably. Just playing the numbers game here. But really, when there's smoke, there's generally fire here. And I'll never understand it, by the way. Same thing with Deshaun Watson. You're a gazillionaire.
Well, I was just going to say, he's still a Cleveland Brown. Deshaun Watson, technically, still Cleveland Brown.
He's a quarterback. Quarterback, a little different. And Cleveland got vilified. They got absolutely crushed for that, right? They did. Maybe Baltimore doesn't want to do that. And they not only is he a quarterback, but he was still a Pro Bowl quarterback at that time, right? If he was terrible, that never happens, right? Never happened. Cleveland thought, it was worth the aggravation or the bad PR to get what we thought was a franchise quarterback. Didn't work out that way at all. Right? So you ticked everybody off. The owners hated you because you gave the guaranteed contract and all that. The women's groups all hated you. Everybody hated you. And well-deserved, by the way. They should have hated you. I think it's very similar here with Tucker. They just want to move. For a player who's not that player anymore, we're moving on. Could have been worded differently? Sure. And they probably just should have said it, by the way. Listen, we're moving on. He's not the same kicker. We have somebody we think is better, blah, 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 and gotten rid of it. But we would have all known that's a lie, too.
I guess. I just, listen, is Stephon Diggs still a New England Patriot right now? All right. We got a video of him with a bag of something, which, listen, unless you're a moron, you got to realize it's something probably illegal. It more than likely is, right? But did they kick him off the team? No. I mean, it's the same thing. To me, it's I don't know. Word it differently, come up with a better explanation. But just to throw him to the side like that, it's just so cold-hearted. It's just like, I didn't like it.
Don't feel bad at all.
Yeah. See if another team signs him. That would be interesting. Football full circle. More coming up.
The winning edge. You've got it. But not everybody has it because not everybody listens to us. But we're working on that. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. College World Series regional action gets underway tomorrow. Vanderbilt heads in as the top overall seed. The Oklahoma City Thunder are headed to the NBA Finals. They closed out the Minnesota Timberwolves with a 124-94 win in Oklahoma City last night. The Thunder take the series 4-1. They led it 26-9 after the first quarter. NBA MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 34 points, 7 rebounds, and 8 assists. They'll take on the winner of the Pacers-Knicks series in the Eastern Conference. Game 5 is tonight at Madison Square Garden. New York down 3-1 in the series. The Florida Panthers are headed back to the Stanley Cup final. The defending champs beat the Carolina Hurricanes 5-3 last night to win the series 4-1. West final Game 5 tonight. Dallas down 3-1, looking to stay alive at home. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. That's the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code MOVE to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code MOVE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code MOVE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
You're listening to Sports Grid, spreading the winning edge far and wide. Terrestrial, internet, TV, satellite, and don't forget our mobile app. Face it, the winning edge is everywhere. Somewhere there's a squirrel frustrated he can't get a phone. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
And welcome back. It is Football Full Circle here on the Grid. Scott and George, hour number 1 of our 1-hour extravaganza. Halfway home. Let's take a look at some of the NFL over-unders. George, we touched on this yesterday. We'll do a little bit more tomorrow. We did the AFC East yesterday. We did the NFC North, speaking of Baltimore. I think we got the last left with the... Did we do the AFC South? I don't think so. I think we only did the 2 divisions. So, Houston, Texas. Yesterday. The AFC East, didn't we do? Yeah, we did the
AFC, right? We did the AFC East, and I think we killed the North in the AFC.
Yeah, we killed the North. Yeah. So AFC South, Houston over 9.5 plus 110 with FanDuel anyway. And each site's going to have different odds on this stuff, but it's 9.5 right now. 10-7 last year, not a bad schedule. Only one back-to-back road game trip, which isn't too bad. What do they got? 8 games against playoff teams, which is about the norm. 7, 8, 9 is the norm. I think there's still the class of the division. I don't know how they don't win that division unless you think Jacksonville all of a sudden is going to rise up. But overall, there was nothing daunting with their schedule that made me say, "Ooh, that's rough." They had 10 wins last year, and they're giving you 9.5 plus money on the over this year. I think last year was the dip. Good first season with C.J. Stroud. Disappointing second season, even though they had the same record, 10-7. And I think they get at least 11 wins or 10 wins for our purposes here. I do like the over here.
You're right about the schedule. There's nothing here. That's oh my god. It's actually it might be one of the easier schedules. But again, you're playing your own division, which is the AFC South. We know that's not the best division on the planet. All right, so that certainly helps there. My problem with them is their offensive line is putrid. It's god awful. That's probably why. It is why Stroud sort of regressed last year. That and all the injuries to the wide receivers as well. So I'm a little worried about that. That being said, I think you already said it here. Unless you think Jacksonville is going to take that next step, which hey, maybe they have some talent there. They should win. They still should win this division. You still got a good running game here. Your receiving room is stacked with Nico Collins, Tank Dell. You draft Higgins. You bring along Kirk here. Dalton Schultz should be a solid tight end. If the offensive line can just hold up, I think they get your over total. I do, but I'm not so sure the offensive line can. I think, once again, they'll win their 10 games, maybe 11, because their schedule is not difficult, not because they're a great team.
Yeah, I mean, it really isn't a bad schedule at all for a first place team last year. So they get the 2 extra games against first place teams. If not for that, they really would have an easy schedule. But I'm curious more so as far as betting. I like the over. As far as how good is this Houston Texans team? Are they going to put themselves really in the Buffalo, Cincinnati? I'll put in that category, Kansas City class, or are they just going to be okay, good team, bad division, get knocked out in the first or second round again? So to me, there are 3 games that jump off the page for them. At Baltimore, October 5th. At Kansas City, December 7th. And Buffalo at home, Thanksgiving. Those are the let me see them they got to get at least 1. But it might be a tall task asking for 2 since 2 of them are on the road. But if you want to be taken as a serious Super Bowl contender, you got to go 2 in 1 of those games. Find a way to beat the big boys, which they've not been able to do.
Playing at Baltimore, winning at Baltimore and winning at Kansas City, that's difficult for anybody. So I don't know if they can go 2-1. Right. It'd be impressive if they did. And listen, I don't know if you can beat Buffalo at home, even though it is a Thursday. Is that Thanksgiving, November 20th? Early Thanksgiving this year?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think so, right? Maybe not. Maybe that's just the week before.
I think that could be just a regular Thursday. Either way, it's a Thursday night game. Either way, it's a night game. And is it the night game on Thanksgiving, NBC? Maybe.
Usually. Yeah, it must be a Thursday.
This is probably the normal Thursday night game, not Thanksgiving. I know Thanksgiving does come early sometimes, but I'm assuming it's November 27th this year. Whatever. It doesn't make a difference. It's a Thursday night game. So there is an advantage there for you to play Buffalo at home on a Thursday night. But it wouldn't shock me if they lose all 3. That's it. As good as your offense is, and I think once again, all things considered, it could be a really good offense. That offensive line is bad. It's bad. It's going to hold you back there. He's not going to have a lot of time to throw. The holes may not be there for times that Mixon. You'll beat teams, the average teams, right? You'll do good in your division. I'm sure you go 4-2 here. You have a Seattle, even San Fran. I don't think is all that good a team this year. Maybe you play them, you beat them. You got Denver here, Indianapolis, Arizona. I guess you're playing the NFC West. I think they get their 10 wins. I do. Because there's a lot of games. There's a lot of winnable games here. You brought up the 3 toughest. And after that, what's your tough games? You got Tampa Bay. You play them at home. You open up against against LA. Okay, on the road. If they can just avoid going 0-2, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah. Indianapolis, another one with an easy schedule. Although they do have a little bit of a gauntlet here. First up, over/under is 7.5. Believe it or not, they actually went 8-9 last year. As crazy as a season, Flacco in there, Richardson in there, all the issues. They still did go 8-9. They got 8 games against playoff teams, which isn't too bad. Again, you look at the schedule, 2 sets of back-to-backs, including, and this is where it gets a little difficult, they got a stretch where after their bye week, which is in mid-November, at Kansas City, Houston at home, at Jacksonville, which doesn't seem too bad, except that then they're going to at Seattle. And you think about where Indianapolis is, middle of the country. They're going all the way east to Jacksonville, and then they're going to go all the way west to Seattle. And then they play San Fran after that. So that 5-game gauntlet is kind of their season. Are they going to get 8-9 wins? I would think so. Danny Nichols there in that division, maybe be a little bit more competitive. I fully expect him to be the starting quarterback, not Anthony Richardson. So I would go over, but it wouldn't be a great play.
I probably agree with you. Once again, the schedule does play out nicely. Even that 5-game stretch. All right, Kansas City and Houston is rough here. And you play Atlanta right before the break, too. That may not be fun either. And even at Pittsburgh, I don't know who's going to be the quarterback of Pittsburgh. They're a hard team to judge right now. Yeah, I mean, it's a rough stretch, but not the worst we've seen in the NFL. They're a decent squad here. If you got 8 wins last year, you should be able to get it this year as well. Boy, if they go to Daniel Jones at quarterback, and I understand Anthony Richardson's looking like a big-time bust, but my God, you're going to, what do you like to call him, Danny Nichols?
Danny Nichols, not Danny Dimes.
This is that. I would just be, in my mind, a step back. Even if you got the 8 or 9 wins, it'd be a step back to go to Daniel Jones here. But I kind of agree. I do like the over here. Schedule plays up nicely for them.
All right. If you're kind of looking for Jacksonville to take that step, new head coach and everything, as I kind of am, boy, if they do, they're going to earn it. Tough schedule. Unlike with Houston and Indy, they got 3 There's some teams that don't have any. They have 3 sets of back-to-backs, including a stretch where they play 4 road games in 5 weeks. They start the season with Carolina at home, okay, at Cincinnati, Houston, San Fran, Kansas City. I mean, they're looking down the barrel at a 1-4 start. And then even after that, they got Seattle and the LA Chargers, or is that the Rams? Which won't be easy.
That's in England. Well, that's in Europe. I don't know where the hell any of these games are anymore.
Right. They got 2 over in England, wherever it is, Europe, England. They always play the 2 over there, so that makes it tough. They got 8 games against playoff teams, plus Cincinnati and San Fran, so that's 10 games against playoff caliber teams. They fly west 3 times this year, separate trips, at San Fran, at Arizona, and at Denver as well. I tell you what, I liked their over when I saw their number. This is what I mean by you look at their schedule and you see how it plays out. They don't have San Fran and Arizona back-to-back, so it's not like they can just stay out there. I don't know if they get to 8 wins with a rookie head coach.
It's not going to be easy. I kind of like this team. I mean, but if part of it is can Lawrence take that next step? We've been waiting for Lawrence now for, you blamed it on the coach, and then we're blaming it on whatever. It's just not working out here. Urban Meyer screwed things up for a while. The running game's solid with Bigsby now here. You got a good wide receivers, Brian Thomas, Travis Hunter. He's going to be the next Deion Sanders. Even like De'Ami Brown a little bit. I'm going to say probably not this year. I think we may be 1 year ahead on Jacksonville. If that makes any sense, would be next year they take that step.
Yeah. We'll look at the AFC West when we come back. Football Full Circle.
We're not saying every Sports Grid listener is a legend, but you might start thinking about who's going to play you in the movie. Just saying. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
With the Sports Grid News Flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. This update brought to you by Wendy's. An Ohio divorce attorney accused of fatally stabbing a client in 2013 in a plot to delay her trial pleaded not guilty to aggravated murder and kidnapping charges. Bail was set at $2 million for 51-year-old Gregory Moore, charged with murder and conspiracy in the 2013 death of Aliza Sherman. A federal judge immediately rejected a defense request for a mistrial on Wednesday at the sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs. His attorneys had said that prosecutors tried to imply to a jury that the music mogul interfered with the investigation into rapper Kid Cudi's firebombed Porsche in 2012. Legislation signed into law by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis will impose tougher penalties on people who abandon pets during natural disasters. The governor also signed a bill that enhances criminal penalties for severe cruelty to dogs and other pets. I'm Trey Westerberg with the Sports Grid News Flash.
Huge news. Right now at Wendy's, you can get a Son of Baconator for just $3. I don't think you understand this situation. The Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. You know, smoked bacon, rich melted cheese. That Son of Baconator is only $3. Thank you to whoever wished upon that star. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii, not valid in a combo or in third-party delivery platforms.
When you switch to Progressive and bundle your home and auto, you could save hundreds, and that's a surprising amount of money.
Whoa, that's like farmer's market money.
That's like give me a gallon of that locally sourced raw honey money.
That's certified organic heirloom tomatoes in every imaginable color except red money.
That's let's get 2 pounds of pink oyster mushrooms money. I'm not even sure I like pink oyster mushrooms.
Guess it's time to find out, because you could save hundreds when you switch to Progressive and bundle. Then the world is your pink oyster mushroom. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Remember when you were thankful you could just get AM and FM? Things have progressed. Now even an app on your phone can give you a 21st century thrill with that little drop of heaven called the deposit notification. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
All right, welcome back. It is Football Full Circle on this Thursday. Scott and George, as we got 15 more minutes or so, breaking down some of the NFL over-unders now that the schedules have been out for about a week and a half, 2 weeks or so. So last left with the AFC South, we got one more team, Tennessee, the Titans, number 1 overall pick. Cam Ward going to be their starting quarterback. I imagine they're saying there's a competition with Will Levis, but please, really. Will Levis barely started in college, let alone the NFL. Over-under is 5.5, minus 125 to the over on FanDuel. They only had 3 wins last year, so you're asking for them to duplicate that, go from 3 to 6 in order to hit your over. They have 3 straight road games. Not difficult, but still it is 3 straight at Houston, at Arizona, at Las Vegas. They got 4 straight at home in November. Only 4 more road games after week 6, believe it or not, of the NFL season. So they play a ton of their road games early on, which could really derail the season. I get that, but then it gets you a little bit easier, obviously, after that. And I also wrote down where they got 7 games against playoff teams from last year. So not a bad schedule. Like I said, they got a ton of games to start the season. AFC only has the 8 road games this year, so they start out at Denver, then home, then at then a 3-game road trip, and then after that, it's pretty easy. Not a bad schedule. Cleveland's on there, George. You got the Patriots are on there. Obviously, the 6 games in the division outside of Houston, the 4 should be winnable games. So New Orleans is on there. Not bad. Do they get 6? I'm a Cam Ward guy, so I'm going to say yes. I think they do get 6, just barely.
Yep, you just asked the question. All right, if you believe in Cam Ward, they should get 6. All right, this schedule's kind of nice looking at this. If you don't believe in Cam Ward, then not. Or if you believe it's going to take them longer to figure it out, then it could be a problem here. As long as they don't get bogged down by the bad starts, I think it will be Denver, Rams. All right, they play Houston. You could be 1-3 real quick. You could be, as long as you don't get bogged down by that. I mean, you mentioned you got Arizona in here, Vegas, New England, Indianapolis. Obviously your own division. You already said that. Cleveland, New Orleans. There's a lot of winnable games. They're not going to win them all, of course. That's a bad team, but I think they can get the 6. And I'm not as high on Cam Ward as you are. And when I say that, I just don't believe he's a franchise guy. I think he's an NFL quarterback, but not that kind of guy. Not someone you can draft earlier in your fantasy leagues. For that matter, I think he's going to take prop bets of over 32 touchdown passes a year, or anything like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. Definitely not. But overall, I think they were wise to hold on to him versus maybe trading him away for 3, 4, 5, whatever draft choices. Because I do think he'll end up being the best quarterback in this year's draft, which might not be saying that much. But yeah, I think they get the 6, just barely. So AFC West, Denver Broncos, a surprise team from last year. They go 10-7. We know what the boys in Vegas think because they've lowered their number, not raised them. It's 9.5. 2 sets of back-to-back road games, which is not the worst thing in the world in the NFL these days. They're not flying Southwest Airlines. You got Tennessee and at Indy to start the season. Then at Chargers, Cincinnati, at Philadelphia. So that's a tough little, let's see what the Broncos really have. They have the oddity of 10 home games this year in that they're playing Kansas City. I think that's the Mexico game. Normally, George, when teams have the 9 home games and 8 road games, as the AFC does, if they play one of those Europe games or Mexico games, they take away one of the home games. For Kansas City and Denver, they didn't. They still have their 9 normal home games, and then this Mexico, I think it's Mexico, that's where they're playing, is the extra home game. So they've taken away 1 road game for both Kansas City and Denver, which is interesting. So, I want to go under on them. I think there will be a little regression. But knowing that, I still think I'm going to go under. I don't think they get to 10 wins this year.
It won't be easy, but the schedule does, hey, we're up against Tennessee, should be a W. At Indianapolis, should be a W. Get up to a nice start here. Chargers, Cincinnati, Philadelphia. That's a brutal stretch. All right, that won't be fun at all. Jets are on it. You play Jets, Giants, Dallas. I mean, Dallas isn't a great team either. You should go 2-1 there. Obviously, you play your own division here, which is a tough division. Yeah, I'm going to go with you here. I think they're a decent squad. I think they're a decent team here, but I don't think they're getting double digits here. I think it's going to be right around that 8-9 win mark. I'll take the under.
Yeah. Next up, Kansas City. Speaking of which, right? No 2 straight road games this season, which is kind of weird. 10 games against playoff teams, but that's what's going to happen when you're playing the AFC West and you had 3 teams, make the playoffs last year. 8 games in prime time. That's to be expected. Only 4 more 4 o'clock games. So they only have 4 1 o'clock games, which actually is a little bit more than I really thought they would end up having. So they start the season Chargers, Philadelphia, at Giants, Baltimore. It's Kansas City. Listen, they can win all those games. Any other team, you'd be like, wow, they can start the season 1-3, but chances are halfway decent. They'll go in. They're going to win the Giant game, right? So 2-2. But still, that would be a little bit of a. They only had 2 losses all of last year. They may get it in the first month of the season this year.
Once again, Kansas City is sort of the team that reminds me of Tom Brady in his last years with New England. Never really believed in it. Like, no, they're not going to win this year, and they always won because Brady was that good. And the same thing with Kansas City. I don't think the team as a whole was great at all, but Pat Mahomes is that good. But once again, the offensive line, bad. Is Rashee Rice going to be ready? There's going to be Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce, who was, Warren Sharp, but all his numbers were terrible last year, went down in every category. So is he going to take another step back? This could be the end of this Kansas City dominance as far as they're the team here. So I think they will go 2-2. And I think they could lose, week 6 against Detroit as well. Now, all these games are at home, by the way, which is God bless.
Right.
At Philadelphia, home. Baltimore, home. Detroit, home. I mean, damn. Washington, home. You are at Buffalo, so I guess there is that. Houston's at home. I mean, other than the Buffalo game, all of their tough games are at home, which should be a big benefit. Kansas City is one of the bigger home field advantages in the NFL. That being said, I'll take the under. I just don't think they're a great team. I think Pat Mahomes is just great.
Yeah. Like I said, when you play that extra game and they make it a home game or they take away a road game, it does make it interesting. So not a bad little schedule for being a first-place team. It really isn't. I will close out the AFC West, take a peek at the NFC East when we return here on The Grid.
Luck is winning the lottery. Strategy is settling your divorce before cashing in the tickets.
It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Get the winning edge. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network. Sports Grid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on Sports Grid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. Sports Grid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Money Line at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find Sports Grid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Imagine combining the exciting investment opportunity of cryptocurrencies with the power of artificial intelligence to maximize your IRA, 401k, or other investment funds. Listen, if you're looking for ways to accelerate your retirement growth, Block Trust IRA has market-leading strategies and solutions for all levels of investors, from $1,000 to millions. And they partner with Bitcoin Magazine's #1 crypto trading fund in the world to maximize your returns. Plus, their team of IRA specialists is here to help you roll over your IRA or qualified retirement account to the new world of cryptocurrency investments. So make this free call right now to set up your account and learn more.
800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. That's 800-434-5313.
It's stark but true.
You can either listen to Sports Grid for strategies, odds, and more, or you can pay your bills by digging in your couch cushions for change.
Just be sure to wear gloves.
Get the winning edge. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
All right, welcome back. It is Football Full Circle here on a Thursday. Scott and George wrapping up shop, just going over some team over-unders now that we got the schedules out and everything else. Talking a little AFC West here. Left off with the Las Vegas Raiders, George. Over is 7.5 plus 135. Under 7.5 is minus 160. had only 4 wins last year. They pick up Geno Smith. Things should change around a little bit. Last place schedule certainly helps. They still have 9 games against playoff teams, but again, when you're playing the AFC West, that's why they're 6 right there with Denver, Chargers, and the Chiefs all making the postseason. But still, their schedule includes games against New England, Tennessee, Indianapolis, Giants, Cleveland, and Chicago, which could be a little bit better this year, but still. Boy, they're only kind of scheduling gauntlet at the end of the year. They close out the season at Philadelphia, at Houston, Giants, and then Kansas City. But the Kansas City game could be meaningless for the Chiefs, so that might not be that difficult. So it's not a bad schedule. 7.5, and you're giving me odds. Can they go 8 and 9? They have the 9 home games, remember, this season, being in the AFC. It's a big jump from 4 to 8, but I think they might get it.
It is an improved team, right? Geno Smith is definitely better than what they've had there. Ashton Genty, most of us love him. It's going to give him a strong running game there. Don't really like their receiving core. They have a bunch of 2s and 3s, no number 1. But I guess once again, Brock Bowers is your number 1 there. Defense, well, work in progress. Can't fix everything. I mean, as you said, schedule, as long as they don't get bogged down in the beginning here, you open up against New England, Chargers, Washington, Chicago. That is a rough stretch there. I kind of like Chicago this year. Although I don't think they're massively better than Vegas, but it's at home. It gives you an advantage. Indianapolis, Tennessee, Kansas. I am likely to agree with you, but the ending is rough. All right. Other than that Kansas City game, I mean, Chargers, Denver, Philly, Houston. All right. Then you get the bye week with the Giants and Kansas City. That's probably going to be our problem here. We can be, if we're at 4 going into that, we're not getting it. If we're at 5, I think it'll be close. We're at 6, we should get it. So I'm going to go with you. I think they get to their 8-9 wins. I think Pete Carroll will do enough damage there.
Yeah, they got to find a way to get at least 1, if not 2 wins in their division. Maybe at home against the Chargers and Broncos. Yeah, they do. Rivalry game and everything. Just don't go 0-6. You go 0-6 in the division, then you're going to have to win all these close games, and no one's going to win all of them. So, Chargers 9.5. They had 11 wins last year, so they're giving you a little bit of a discount. A little surprised. 9 games against playoff teams. 3 straight division games to start the season, which is a little weird. In December, their gauntlet: Philadelphia, at KC, at Dallas, Houston, at Denver. That's how they end their season. They get 3 separate road trips to New York, Miami, and Jacksonville as well. And remember, they're in Los Angeles. That's 3. That's not back-to-back Giants and Dolphins where you could stay there, or Dolphins and Jacksonville. They got to fly 3 trips back east. That's a tough schedule. Because of that, again, I probably won't play it, but if I had to, I think I would lean towards the under, but a slight lean.
I think I might lean towards the over here with the Chargers. All right. We know you got Herbert. Great. The running game, Hampton should be that running back there. Sorry, Najee. I think McConkey does take that next step here. I'd like to see a little better depth here. Maybe Quentin Johnson hold on to the ball. Their offense still has work to be done. No doubt has work to be done. Need to stay healthy. The team always seems to be banged up year after year after year here. But I don't mind the schedule. All right, opening up against Kansas City on the Friday and Brazil, it is what it is. What are you going to do?
Right.
If you could just go 2-1 in those division games there, technically 2 of them are at home here. Would love that. Giants, Washington, Miami, Indianapolis, Minnesota, Tennessee, Pittsburgh. I mean, that's a nice stretch where you're not playing anybody all that rough. You got to make your hay during that stretch there, right? Miami, Indianapolis, Minnesota, Tennessee, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, Vegas. Yeah, you got to make your hay during that stretch there and go like 6-2 or whatever it might be, and then just split the rest of those games at the end. Right, go 3-3 down the stretch there, and you should get to your double-digit wins. I'll take the over.
Yeah, they're like Houston. If you're a good team, you want to take that next step. You have a really good year despite a tough little schedule. So. We touched on them a little bit yesterday. Let's go to the NFC East with the Giants schedule, which is just tough. 5.5 is your number, plus 125. They're 3-14 from last year. They got 10 games against playoff teams. We'll touch more on it tomorrow, George, but this is setting up for a long
What are they beating?
Yeah.
Once?
3 sets of back-to-back road games as well. And then they finish up with Philadelphia, at Denver, at Philadelphia, and San Fran during a stretch. Wow. George and I'll be back tomorrow. Have yourselves a great Thursday, folks. Football full circle right here on the Grid.
Now you've done it.
You found the advantage for gaming, odds, and more. But we call it the winning edge for short. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.